Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, February 20th, 2020. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, look ahead to tonight's slate in each of those sports. Well, there was no NBA last night. We'll just look ahead to tonight's slate in that. Masked Singer last night, Group B, got going. We'll talk about that. Lego Masters, my NBA redraft from 2019, and my best bets of the day. All right, first we'll do college basketball. Busy slate last night. It's a busy slate again tonight. So without further ado, here we go. Number 16, Seton Hall over number 24, Butler, 74-72 on a crazy finish, a tip-up. Well, it's 21 Butler, my bad. Number 11, Louisville over Syracuse, 66. They needed that one. Georgia upsets number 13, Auburn, 65-55. Michigan over Rutgers, 60-52. A&M over Alabama, 74-68. Georgia Tech over Wake Forest, 86-79. UCF over Cincinnati, 89-87 in double overtime. Memphis over East Carolina, 77-73. Siena over Iona, 65-64. American over Navy, 71-62. Loyola Maryland over Army, 81-77. Colgate over Lehigh, 70-67. Lafayette over BU, 61-59. Richmond over George Mason, 65-50. Chattanooga over the Citadel, 91-68. East Tennessee State over Furman, 75-66. UNC Greensboro over Wofford, 83-79 in overtime. Mercer over Samford, 106-66. VMI over Western Carolina, 74-71. Lamar over Sam Houston State, 77-65. Nichols over Northwestern State, 73-69. Stephen F. Austin over Central Arkansas, 83-68. Bradley over Missouri State, 83-79 in overtime. Drake over Valpo, 77-75 in overtime. Loyola Chicago over Illinois State, 84-69. Incarnate Word over McNeese, 65-59. Abilene Christian over Houston Baptist, 82-68. Texas over TCU, 70-56. George Washington over Duquesne, 70-67. LaSalle over Fordham, 58-49. SMU loses at Tulane, 80-72. Yale Monroe over Arkansas State, 66-52. South Dakota State over North Dakota, 94-83. North Dakota State over South Dakota, 77-74. UMKC over Cal Baptist, 69-63. Virginia over Boston College, 78-65. Providence over Georgetown, 73-63. NC State upsets number 6 Duke, 88-66. Number 12 Villanova over DePaul, 91-71. Houston over Tulsa, 76-43. Indiana over Minnesota, 68-56. Mississippi State over South Carolina, 79-76. Texas Tech over Kansas State, 69-62. Miami over Virginia Tech, 102-95 in triple overtime. Utah State over Wyoming, 78-58. Boise State over San Jose State, 80-62. Fresno State over Air Force, 71-62. Cal over Washington State, 66-57. And UC Irvine over Long Beach State, 70-55. All right, tonight's slate is pretty busy. 6 o'clock, you have Longwood at USC Upstate. 7 o'clock, ESPN, number 25, Ohio State at number 20, Iowa. Iowa's a 2.5-point favorite. Iowa's undervalued here at home against an Ohio State team that's pretty solid. I'd make this Iowa by 6.5. So give me the Hawkeyes minus a 2.5 at home. Hofstra at Drexel, Northeastern at Delaware, Alana James Madison, UMBC at Albany, William & Mary at Towson, Northern Kentucky at Cleveland State, Gardner Webb at Hampton, Presbyterian at High Point, Northern Iowa at Indiana State, Belmont at Morehead State, UConn at Temple. Temple's a 1-point home favorite. I would make this Temple by 2.5. This was the spot that I was hoping I'd be on the UConn side, but doesn't the line tell you something? So give me Temple -1 at home against UConn. CBS Sports Network, South Florida at Wichita State. Wichita's a 10-point home favorite. What do you do if you're even? Go with your gut. Wichita State. Lipscomb at Jacksonville, Stetson at NJIT, Kennesaw State at North Alabama, North Florida at Liberty, UMass Lowell at Binghamton, Hartford at New Hampshire, ESPNU, Vermont at Stony Brook, Vermont's a 5-point favorite on the road. I'm taking Stony Brook in the points. I make this Vermont by 1.5. South Alabama at Appalachian State. Troy at Coastal Carolina. Omaha and Purdue Fort Wayne. Wright State at Youngstown State. Campbell at Charleston Southern. Tennessee State at Eastern Kentucky. 8 o'clock Pac-12 Network. Oregon State at number 24 Arizona. Arizona is an 11-point favorite. I am going to take Oregon State plus the points. I make this Arizona by 7.5. Arizona's a good team, but I think that they're overvalued here in the spot. I think that they win somewhere between 7 and 8 points. So give me Arizona plus the 11. Also, SIU Evansville at Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois is a 8.5-point favorite at home over Evansville. I'm going to lay it. I have Southern Illinois by 15.5. I really think that Evansville's a team that's really bad and is continuing to go in the wrong direction, win this in conference play. So give me Southern Illinois minus 8.5. Georgia Southern at Texas State. Georgia State at Texas Arlington. Tennessee Martin at Tennessee Tech at 8:30. Fox Sports 1. Michigan State at Nebraska. Michigan State's a 12.5-point favorite. I'm taking Nebraska in the points because I'd make this Michigan State by 10.5. I think Michigan State wins, but Nebraska covers the number. Southeast Missouri State at Jacksonville State. Murray State at Eastern Illinois. 9 o'clock ESPN. Number 14 Oregon at Arizona State. Oregon's a 2-point favorite. I absolutely love the Sun Devils here getting the 2. I think they win the game outright. And they need this game because they're trending towards an at-large bid potentially. And I really think they can win this game, and I think they will win this game. So give me Arizona State plus the 2. ESPN 2, USC at number 18, Colorado. Colorado is a 9.5-point favorite. Give me USC in the points. USC is very undervalued in this spot. I make this Colorado by 4.5. So give me the Trojans and the points in that spot. CBS Sports Network Santa Clara at number 23, BYU. How about BYU getting the number next to their name? Good for them. I have this BYU by 14.5 on the ESPN app, but I'd make this 10.5, so give me Santa Clara and the points. This is the first game that BYU is ranked in a long time, so you know they're going to be feeling it a little bit, saying, hey, we have the number by our name, and we're the second best team in the WCC. But I think they'll win, but Santa Clara will cover because I think BYU will be a little cocky. ESPNU, UNC Asheville at Radford. Radford's a 9.5-point favorite. I'd make Radford minus 11.5, so give me Radford minus 9.5. Southern Utah and Northern Colorado. Oral Roberts at Denver. Pepperdine at Portland. Pepperdine's an 8-point favorite. I have Pepperdine by 6.5, so give me Portland plus the 8. Cal State Bakersfield at Utah Valley. Sacramento State at Eastern Washington. 9:30 Northern Arizona at Idaho. UC Davis at Cal Poly at 10 o'clock. UC Santa Barbara at Cal State Fullerton. Grand Canyon at Seattle. Stanford at Washington. Washington's a 1.5-point favorite. Give me Stanford in the points. I'd make the Stanford by 2.5. I think Washington's very overrated. I know this is a good spot for the Huskies in terms of a bounce back, but I just can't play this team. So give me Stanford plus the 1.5, and I think Stanford wins. Montana State at Portland State, 10:30 UCLA at Utah. Utah's a 3-point favorite home. Give me UCLA in the points. I make this a pick'em. I think UCLA is going to win the game outright. They're just playing better. So give me UCLA plus the 3 at Utah. 11 o'clock ESPN 2, San Francisco number 2 Gonzaga. Gonzaga's a 17-point favorite. I make this 15.5. So I have a 1.5 differential. So give me San Francisco plus the points to make this kind of competitive. Hawaii at UC Riverside. UC Riverside's a 2-point home favorite. Give me Hawaii in the 2. I'd make this a pick'em. I think Hawaii wins. And CBS Sports Network, Loyola Marymount at St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a 14-point favorite, and that's what I have it at. So what do I do if it's even with the projection? go with the gut, and my gut says St. Mary's will probably cover the point spread there. NBA is back tonight with a nice slate for you, including a doubleheader on TNT, if I am not mistaken. 7 o'clock, the Bucks at the Pistons. 7:30, the Heat at the Hawks. 8 o'clock, the Hornets at the Bulls. 8 o'clock, TNT, the Nets at the Sixers. Philly is favored by 8.5. I haven't updated the rankings since those games took place before the All-Star break. I would make this line Philly by 7.5, so give me Brooklyn plus the 8 to at least keep it competitive. 10:30 TNT, the Rockets at the Warriors. This was a game on Christmas Day where the Rockets just blew out Golden State beat the Rockets outright, and a lot of people thought the Rockets were going to blow out Golden State. I'd make this Rockets by 12. So give me the Rockets minus the 10 on the road at Golden State. All right. NHL, we'll go over the slate from last night and look ahead to the games tonight. Rangers over the Blackhawks 6-3. Stars over the Coyotes 3-2. Bruins over the Oilers 2-1 in overtime on a goal by David Pastrnak, who has just had a career year this year. Avs over the Islanders 3-1. Panthers over the Ducks 4-1. And Wild over the Canucks 4-3 in a shootout. Tonight's slate, 7 o'clock, the Penguins at the Maple Leafs, the Sharks at the Devils, NBCSN, Canadiens, Capitals. There are a lot of Capitals games lately. I wonder if they're just adding them so they could get Ovechkin with the 700, or it's just coincidence that all these Caps games have been on national TV lately. Give me the Capitals at home. They're better than the Canadiens. I think that there's a chance that Ovechkin gets it tonight. Flyers at the Blue Jackets. Jets at the Senators at 7:30. 8 o'clock, the Coyotes at the Blues. 10 o'clock, the Lightning at the Golden Knights. And 10:30, the Panthers at the Kings. Now I'm going to do my NBA redraft from last year. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 1, New Orleans Pelicans, Zion Williamson. No change there. They're very happy with Zion sans the injuries. 2, the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant. No do-over here. Ja Morant's got the Grizzlies in the 8th seed right now in the Western Conference. 3, New York Knicks, R.J. Barrett. No change here. R.J. is, I think, been the 3rd best rookie in the league this year. I think that he's been solid, but obviously not as good as Zion Williamson and Ja Morant. I don't think the Knicks would do over on that one. For the Atlanta Hawks, Rui Hachimura. He's somebody that's having a good season with the Wizards. And he'd be somebody that the Hawks would really like. 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tyler Herro. He's somebody that's having a promising rookie season on the Miami Heat. 6, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Brandon Clark from Gonzaga. The big guy, he's somebody that's having a nice year for the Grizzlies, coming off the bench, sometimes starting. 7, the Chicago Bulls, DeAndre Hunter. The Bulls are a team that has some talented young players, but really could use talented young players on the wing. And DeAndre Hunter would have been a nice fit there. 8, the New Orleans Pelicans, PJ Washington. He's somebody that is having a fine rookie year. And he could really have helped the Pelicans. 9, the Washington Wizards, Darius Garland. Garland is somebody that has shown flashes as a rookie for the Cavs. Here in Washington, he'd be starting this year with John Wall being injured. 10, the Atlanta Hawks, Matthias Thybulle. Thybulle's somebody that's having a great year with the Sixers, playing off the bench as a reserve wing player. 11, the Phoenix Suns, Kobe White. Instead of overpaying Ricky Rubio, you draft Kobe White, who has had moments for the Bulls this year. 12, the Charlotte Hornets, Eric Pascal. He's somebody that's having a nice year with the Warriors. Obviously, you could say bad team stat filler, but he's had a really solid season. 13, the Miami Heat, Jarrett Culver. Had some moments this past year for the Timberwolves. I don't know how he really do on the Miami Heat. 14, the Boston Celtics, Jackson Hayes. He's had some moments on the Pelicans this year. The Celtics obviously lack some young bigs other than really Taco Fall, who does only play in garbage time. 15, the Detroit Pistons, Cam Reddish. He's somebody that's had moments on the Hawks this year but doesn't get the playing time. 16, the Magic, Jordan Poole. Good shooter, but really hasn't seen all that playing time. 17, the New Orleans Pelicans, Ignas Brzezickas. He's somebody that's currently in the G League but is having a awesome year. He's somebody that should be playing on the New York Knicks rather than in the G League. 18, the Indiana Pacers, Kai Bowman. Bowman is on the Warriors. He's had some moments. 19, the San Antonio Spurs, Sekou Doumbouya, classic Spurs guy. Really hasn't seen the playing time with the Pistons. 20, the Philadelphia 76ers, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think he's somebody that would help them after losing out on Thibault in the redraft. 21, the Memphis Grizzlies, Grant Williams, somebody that's had some moments for the Celtics this year. 22, the Boston Celtics, Nasir Little, someone who's had moments off the bench for the Blazers this season. 23, to Oklahoma City Thunder, Mfiondu Kabengele. Kabengele's had some moments off the bench for the Clippers this season. 24, the Phoenix Suns, Nicholas Claxton, someone that's had moments on the Brooklyn Nets this year. 25, Blazers, Daniel Gafford. He's somebody that's having some moments on the Bulls. Really hasn't seen playing time. 26, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Carson Edwards. Back up the Kemba Walker in Boston, who has been seeing playing time when Kemba has sat some games. 27, the Los Angeles Clippers, Terrence Mann, no do-over here. As, they didn't take him in this spot. They took Kabengele here, but with Kabengele off the board, they take somebody that's providing minutes for their own team in Terrence Mann. 28, the Golden State Warriors, Darius Bazley, somebody that's as a reserve on Oklahoma City. 29, the San Antonio Spurs, Goga Bitadze, somebody that's had some time with the Pacers when Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis would miss time. And then 30, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Bruno Fernando, somebody that's come off the bench for the Hawks and provides some stuff every here and there. Now I want to talk about last night's episode of The Masked Singer, Season 3, Episode 4, Group B, made its first showing on the show. There's a frog, an elephant, a kitty, a taco, a mouse, and a banana. The elephant was the one who got booted off. I really had a hard time guessing. I really came up with a guess of Bryan Adams because I was getting Summer of 1969 vibes. I really, like I said, this was a tough one for me to guess. Probably the toughest one that I've ever guessed. This was a really hard one for me. Lance Armstrong was somebody that Jenny McCarthy thought it was. Ken Jeong thought it was Ben O'Rourke. Nicole Scherzinger thought it was Steve O'Keefe. And Robin thought it was Travis Rickens. But who was it? Tony Hawk. Made sense because there were some hints about skateboarding and whatnot. Robin came pretty close. Nick Cannon thought it was Tony Hawk, so credit to him. In terms of the other singers, the Frog, somebody that's old school. You saw $106 as a sign. You saw a microphone. You saw a hint, feel free. A lightning bulb. A leftover paper bag, a city. This was a tough one. Carl Lewis, Michael Johnson, and Ray Jin were among the guesses. The Kitty hinted at starting from scratch. The Pirates of the Caribbean was in the clue package. She said something about person I once was. Somebody that's in a second stage. I thought it could have been Kelly Clarkson, somebody that really hasn't been around much. Obviously was the winner of American Idol. And then she came out and had a couple songs. Really has been laying low a little bit, so it's not a bad guess on my part. There's thoughts of maybe Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan. Ken Jeong thought maybe Nicole Richie. My favorite character was the taco. There's something about being in a kitchen for decades. Or maybe been around for decades, but they hinted at a kitchen. Plenty of seasoning. So somebody that's been around a while. San Francisco is a hint. Spice things up. That's kind of obvious being a taco. And my guess, because of his personality and trying to be funny, Dave Coulier obviously played Joey Gladstone on Full House. And there's a San Francisco hint in there. So that's what made me guess Dave Coulier. Robin Thicke guessed Bob Saget. Ken Jeong guessed Martin Short. Nicole Scherzinger guessed Regis Philbin. I think it's a little young to be Regis. It'd be awesome if Regis was on the show, but I just think it's a younger person than Regis Philbin. I think it's Dave Coulier, but I wouldn't rule out Bob Saget. The Mouse. This is a slam dunk to me. I think it's Dionne Warwick. Nicole Scherzinger guessed Darlene Love. Ken Jeong guessed Maya Rudolph. She had hints about a megaphone. There's a football field. Warriors. 1979. Maybe that's when she was popular. She hinted on a walk-on role. Banana. Banana was cool. I'm interested to see who Banana is. This is somebody that guessed, that made some hints about country vibe from the South. The Blue Codio is obviously something that stood out to me. Something about a hangover. There's a bus, a field. Because of the Southern vibe I've got, I thought Keith Urban. Jenny McCarthy thought Belle Engblom. Nicole Scherzinger guessed Ed Helms. Robin Thicke guessed Darius Rucker. I don't think it's Darius because I wasn't getting a vibe of an African-American singer, but who knows? Could be disguising himself. It could be wrong. But I was getting like that Southern Keith Urban vibe. Wouldn't rule out Kid Rock. Somebody guessed Jeff Foxworthy. I don't think it's Jeff Foxworthy. I think it's somebody younger than Jeff Foxworthy. So that was a pretty fun episode. Lego Masters was on after The Masked Singer. I didn't talk about Lego Masters last week, so we'll just talk about the last two episodes. The second one, which was last Wednesday, the teams built Lego sculpture based on external aliens that were strong enough to support itself, to be carried around, that must be able to be easily broken apart in spectacular fashion when smashed by various means. And then last night was where the teams had to select one of several household objects that have been sawed in half and had to build a Lego structure extending from its creativity built that missing half when integrating a story with the object. Jesse and Kara were eliminated in week 2, and Aaron and Christian, Amy and Crystal, Jermaine and Mel, Manny and Nestor, Mark and Boone, Richard and Flynn, Sam and Jessica, Tyler and Amy, and Travis and Corey were all safe. The winner of the challenge in episode 2 was Tyler and Amy. The winner of the challenge in episode 3 was Richard and Flynn. Amy and Crystal were at risk, and the duo that was eliminated was Travis and Corey. Next week is movie genres, so I'm interested to see how this episode that's supposed to air next week would play out. Best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. 1-1 yesterday. I won with the Panthers on the puck line against the Anaheim Ducks. And I lost with Auburn laying 4 against Georgia, as Georgia won that game outright. So, without further ado, here we go. We're going to start in college basketball. I am going to go with, this is a tough one. USC getting 9.5. I think that this is a competitive game, and USC I think has a puncher's chance to win this game outright. So give me USC plus the 9.5. NBA. In terms of what I'd make other lines, Milwaukee and Detroit. Milwaukee's giving 13. I would make this 15.5. Miami at Atlanta. Miami's a 6-point road favorite. And I would make this 11. We talked about Brooklyn and Philly already. Charlotte at Chicago. I would make this Bulls by 3.5, and it's 4.5. Memphis at Sacramento. It's basically a pick'em. It's Memphis by a half is what I'm getting on my screen. I would make this Memphis by 2. So I'm going to take, for my best bet, the Miami Heat minus the 6 at Atlanta. They're the better team. And yes, the Hawks have been competitive with the Heat at times this year, but I just like the spot for Miami. It is what a de facto home game for them. There's going to be a lot of Heat fans in the building. So give me the Miami Heat minus the 6 in Atlanta against the Hawks. That's it for the podcast today. I'll be back tomorrow morning recapping college basketball, NBA, and NHL, looking ahead to the weekend slate of games. We'll preview a little bit of American Idol coming up. We'll pick the winner for the NASCAR race and a lot more. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.